Alright folks, we're back again with some Honkai Star Rail content. The live stream for version 1.4 just ended few moments ago and man it was hype. It's not the patch of cool husbandos. Nope, it's the patch of hot ass waifus. Man, who was here with me, waiting for this day to come? When they finally showcased the two new goddesses of Honkai Star Rail. Man, this really is the patch of waifus. We are literally getting not one, not two, but three new waifus in this patch. We're getting the ice cold Jingliu, and then we are getting the fiery hot Topaz. And then we are getting, her. So, let's look at their kit and see if they can destroy their enemies faster then they destroyed your wallet. In this video, we'll be checking out Jingliu. We'll be looking at her kit, her Eidolons, talk about some builds, and team synergies. And of course, these are just my personal thoughts on the character. If you disagree or find some mistakes, feel free to correct me in the comments. I respect everyone's opinion, and with that out of the way, I'm Sho, and this is my pre-release analysis for Jingliu. So Jingliu is going to be an ice character following the path of destruction, and that itself tells a lot about how good she is. Destruction right now, even more so than Hunt, is dominating the meta significantly, with characters like Blade and Imbibed Lune. And Jingliu will probably be as good as them, if not better. Her overall kit has few similarities with Blade. They both have HP reducing mechanics in their kit, but the major difference is going to be that Blade scales of HP, but Jingliu scales of attack. Looking at her traces, her basic attack is pretty straightforward, deals minor ice damage to a single enemy, nothing special, and you can guess why, because you won't be using it that much. Her skill is where things start to get interesting. She deals ice damage to a single target and obtains one stack of CCG. Now this is what I was talking about. Similar to Blade and Lune, she also has a unique attack, and this stack is what activates it. Not only that, while she has these stacks, she gets a lot of buffs. I'll explain more in a bit. Moving on to her ultimate, she deals massive ice damage to a single target and deals ice damage to adjacent targets. Also obtains one stack of CCG. Pretty good. A big nuke similar to Blade and Lune. Now to the bread and butter of her kit, her talent. When Jingliu is possessing 2 stacks of CCG, she enters the spectral transmigration state. She gets her action advanced by 100%, meaning she gets an extra turn. She increases her crit rate by up to 50% and her skill becomes enhanced. So it's different. Instead of her basic attack like Blade, her skill is what gets enhanced. Now while in this enhanced state, using an attack will consume all other allies' HP and increase Jingliu's attack according to the total HP consumed. And obviously, when CCG stacks become 0, she will exit her buff state. Now a couple of things here. First, when she gets 2 stacks, her skill will get enhanced and she will get extra 50% crit rate, which is crazy. Now after she gets buffed, she will get an extra turn, and here she will use her enhanced skill, which will consume a bit of HP from all allies and increase her attack. Easy. Now if we expand on this enhanced skill, she deals ice damage to a single enemy target and ice damage to adjacent targets and consumes 1 stack of CCG. Now this has really good multipliers. Like if we were to compare this to someone like Lune, his ultimate deals 300% of his attack as imaginary damage, and Jingliu does like 250%, which might seem low, but you have to consider that she gets her attack increased based on the amount of HP consumed. Also, since she gets a ton of crit rate from her talent already, you can focus on getting a lot of attack on her, which will increase her damage significantly. Lastly, her technique creates a dimension around Jingliu. Enemies within this dimension will become frozen, and after entering combat with enemies in this dimension, Jingliu regenerates a bit of energy and obtains 1 stack of CCG with a high chance of applying freeze to the enemies. Characters in general who works with some kind of stacks, starting a fight with one is a huge deal. Like for Imbibed Lune, having that extra skill point is really helpful at the start of the battle. But in Jingliu's case, not only she gets an extra stack, she can also freeze enemies, which is one of the best crowd control debuffs. A really good technique. Alright, let's move on to her passives. Her first passive increases her effect res by 35% when she is in her buff state, which is really good for someone like her because you don't want her to get crowd control when she is in her buff state. And also it helps proccing the effect of a certain relic set that I'll be discussing in the relic section. Her second passive makes it so that after using transcendent flash, that is her skill, the next action will be advanced forward by 10%, which will really help with the turn cycling of her attacks. Her third passive increases her ultimate damage by 20% while she is under her buff state. A simple damage increase. Now her talent will not only enhance her skill but will also increase her ultimate's damage. Her bonus stats are great as well, giving her HP, a lot of crit damage, and very uniquely speed. This is pretty new. We have never seen any other character who gets extra speed from their bonus stats. Combining with the 10% advanced action from her second passive, she will cycle pretty fast, even without a speed main stat boot. Overall, her kit is really good. I would say her kit is pretty similar to 5-star Danheng, as her is also pretty straightforward and easy to understand, but has great potential. Not that it matters. Like, let's be honest here, man. Players will still pull for her, even if her kit is not that good. I'm sure of it. So if you need a good ice DPS, I sure do, you can pull for her. She seems easy to build and fun to play. Considering the other 5-star ice DPS is Yanchin, who also does not need crit rate, but there is a lot of conditions behind it, and Jingliu looks like a huge upgrade from him. That being said, let's see how we can build her. Starting off with her Relics. Since she's an attack scaling ice damage dealer that doesn't need that much crit rate but also appreciates a bit of extra HP, we can narrow down her choices. For the 4-piece set, the first set that everyone will think about is going to be the Hunter of the Glacier Forest set that gives ice damage bonus and it gives extra crit damage after using her burst for 2 turns. Now this set perfectly synergizes with her kit. Like for example, when you enter a battle, you will start your turn with her skill to generate 1 stack of CCG and then use her burst to get the second stack, which will proc her talent and will give her an extra turn while enhancing her skill. And since she just used her ultimate, the Relic's 4-piece bonus will also proc as well, giving her 25% crit damage for 2 turns. And if you remember her kit, she can use her enhanced skill 2 times before she runs out of stack, and this crit damage buff will also last for 2 turns. This set was literally made for her. The only downside is that this set comes with the wind set, which not a lot of character uses. The 2-piece is decent, but that's all. Still, if you want to give your Jingliu her best gear, then the ice set is going to be your goal. The other set that is also pretty good on her is going to be the Longevous Disciple set. The 2-piece gives HP, which she really appreciates, and the 4-piece gives up to 16% extra crit rate. Although you don't need that much crit rate on her, but still having a bit like 20 to 30% is going to be much safer, as her first ultimate at the start of the battle doesn't get her extra crit rate buff. And also this set is much more efficient to farm than the ice set, as it comes with the speed set that every harmony character really appreciates. Also, if you can get a 4-piece set of the ice set, then the 2-piece combo of the ice set and the Musketeer set can be a good option as well. Since Jingliu doesn't use her basic attack that much, the 4-piece effect of the Musketeer set doesn't work for her, but the 2-piece can still be of use on her. Now as for 2 pieces, there are 3 sets that can work for her, but all have their own downside as well. The best set for damage is probably going to be the Ritualian Arena set. It gives extra crit rate and gives 20% extra skill damage, but the downside is that crit rate is not that important for her, as she already gets a lot from her talent. Also, the extra basic attack damage is also wasted on her, because most of the time you'll be using her skill or her ultimate. The second and third are pretty much at the same level. One is the Celestial Differentiator set that gives 16% extra crit damage, but the crit rate only lasts for 1 turn. The other is going to be the Broken Keel set that gives effect res and gives 10% crit damage for the whole team, which is only 6% less than the crit damage set. And having extra effect res is good for a stacking damage dealer like Jingliu. Also, proccing this effect is also very easy for her, as she does get a bit of effect res from her traces. My opinion is to go for either the Ritualian Arena set or the Broken Keel set, as both come in the same domain and is much more efficient to farm than the crit damage set, as it comes with the effect hit rate set, which not a lot of characters uses nowadays. For main stats, you wanna go for either attack percentage or crit damage on the body, speed or attack percentage on the boots, ice damage on the sphere, and attack percentage on the rope. Here on the boots, I would lean more towards attack percentage, as she already gets speed from her traces and gets her action advanced forward by 10% after using her skill. And with just a few speed substats, even without a speed main stat boot, she will be able to cycle pretty fast. But still, if you have better substats on your speed boots, then you should use that. Speaking of substats, you wanna focus on getting crit first, attack percentage or speed depending on the boots, and HP percentage or effect res depending on the 2-piece set. After that, let's talk about light cone choices for Jingliu. Now, like Blade, she scales of attack, which will allow her to use a variety of light cones. First, let's just go through the limited ones. Her signature light cone is obviously best for her. It gives a ton of crit damage and overall damage bonus. Not to mention, this light cone can ignore enemy defense, which is crazy. This light cone is like Jinyuan's light cone for erudition characters, that it can be used on a lot of characters, since it gives crit damage, which is useful for everyone, and the defense shred is pretty insane. So if you want to hyper invest in your Jingliu, then going for her light cone can be a great option. Apart from that, both Blaze and Lune's light cones are great alternatives, with Blaze light cone being a bit better for Jingliu because of the extra damage increase that it provides if you get hit. For the non-limited ones, if you have Clara's light cone, something irreplaceable, then that is a great all-around option. It helps with both damage and survivability. But if you're looking for just damage, then the Herta Store light cone on the Fall of an Aeon is going to be your best bet. It gives a ton of attack, and since you can S5 this light cone for free, at S5 it is one of our best choices. For 4-star options, all of them are pretty decent, I guess. The best two in my opinion is going to be the Mole's Welcome You light cone. It gives a ton of attack, which is what she needs. The other ones are not that optimal for her, I guess. A Secret Vow requires her to be at very low HP, which was easy for Blade since he zaps his own HP a lot, but that's not the case for Jingliu. She is different. She consumes her allies' HP, not her own. Similarly, Under the Blue Sky is on the same boat. The attack is decent, but the crit rate is wasted on her. Lastly, if you have the Battle Pass light cone, that can be an inferior version of Clara's light cone and can be a decent choice. But most of you guys are probably going to be using either Clara's light cone or Herta Store one. After that, let's talk about some team synergies. So what type of characters can work with her? Now since she's a damage dealer, the obvious choice are going to be to play her as a standard hyper carry, with a harmony character for buffs, a nihility character for defense shred, and a healer, as she does takes her allies HP. For harmony characters, Bronya and Tingyun are going to be her best friends. Bronya because she's broken, and Tingyun because she's also broken. The attack boost and extra energy is just too good to pass up. For nihility characters, obviously Silver Wolf, if you have her, she's broken. She can even reduce enemy defense through her basic attack. Her skill is crazy, implanting weakness to the enemies, and her ultimate deals decent damage and reduces enemy defense. Silver is most of the time the go-to choice for any damage dealer, but in Jingliu's case, Pella can be a great option as well. As Jingliu has a lot of multi-tiger hits, Pella can specifically shine there as she can AoE defense shred the enemies. For healers, you can use any healer you want, but Luocha and Lynx are going to be the best options. Luocha has both buffs Dispel and Cleanse and has great healing. And more so, he shines with characters who are more aggressive like Jingliu. With Luocha's talent, he can provide AoE heals to all the teammates. As for Lynx, he has a skill that gives aggro to preservation or destruction characters like Jingliu, which will allow her to get hit more and gain energy through getting hit. Also with that, she also has AoE Cleanse and continuous healing. Both are valuable for Jingliu. Other healers can work in their place as well, but these two are just better. Now aside from these characters, there are two specific characters that I want to discuss about and how they synergize with Jingliu. First is Fu Xuan. I think she can be a decent choice if you don't have other options because she reduces damage taken from the enemies. But here, Jingliu herself is reducing her allies' HP. Also, the extra crit rate is not that needed for Jingliu. The HP increase can still be good though. In my opinion, if you want to use Fu Xuan with Jingliu, then I'd suggest using a healer with her to keep everyone healthy. The second character that I want to discuss about is Blade. Now, Blade may or may not be her best companion. To explain this statement, when we look at his talent, it says here that when he takes damage or reduces his own HP, he gains stack. And when 5 stack is gained, he unleashes a follow-up attack. So, keep in mind that I have not tested this, so this might be wrong. But if Jingliu's skill that consumes her allies' HP procs Blade's talent and makes him gain stack, then this combo is insane. We can expect a ton of follow-up attack from Blade, which has really good damage, not to mention his AoE. Still, this is just my speculation. If it works, then great, but if not, then we can play Jingliu as a standard hyper carry, which is also really good. We have to wait till her release to confirm this. But moreover, the previous characters that I just discussed are going to be her best teammates. So depending on which character you have, you can start building a teammate if you haven't yet. Lastly, to finish things off, let's go through our Eidolons, because some of you are definitely gonna go for those, whether they are good or not. Her E1 makes it so that when using her ultimate or enhanced skill, Jingliu's crit damage is increased by 24% for 1 turn. And the main part, if only one enemy target is attacked, the damage originally intended for adjacent targets will also be calculated against the current target, dealing ice damage equal to 100% of the damage the adjacent target would have received. This is a huge damage spike against bosses. It means if you're fighting against a single enemy and she uses a multi-target attack, the damage that was supposed to go in for the adjacent targets now get dumped over the current target. Man, this makes her like a single target nuker, literally like a hunt character. Damn. Her E2 increases her next skill damage by 80% after she uses her ultimate. Pretty good, not as crazy as her E1, but still good. Her E3 and E5 increase her ultimate and talent level by 2. Her E4 makes it so that while in her buff state from her talent, the attack obtained from consuming her allies' HP is additionally increased by 90% of the total HP that has been consumed from the entire team. And the total cap for attack increase in this way is 30%. Now this is once again another crazy one, literally increasing the damage of her main mechanic. But also, you have to keep in mind that she consumes percentage of her allies' HP. So to take full advantage of this Eidolon, you have to pair her up with characters that have high max HP, so that the percentage of HP that Jingliu takes is high as well. Lastly, her E6. When Jingliu enters her buff state, she obtains 1 stack of CCG. And while she is in her buff state, her crit damage is increased by 50%. So I guess she gets 1 extra stack and 50% crit damage. Well, it sure is a pretty big damage spike. Having both her crit rate and crit damage increase is insane. But I think her E1 and E4 makes a much bigger impact in her overall kit. And if you're someone who are planning to go for a few Eidolons, then I guess it's a good thing that her initial ones are great. But still, she's perfectly fine at E0. I don't see any kind of restrictions or any kind of need to have her at certain Eidolon level. But who am I to stop you? If you like the character and you want to hyper invest in her and you have enough funds, then just go for it. And there you have it. Those were my thoughts on the new upcoming character Jingliu. She's totally awesome and seems to be really fun to play as well. Both her Eidolons and her Litecoin are great. She has lots of build choices as well as different teammates that she can work with. Overall, a very well designed character, both in her kit and her design. So thank you very much for watching. If you found this video helpful, drop a like and subscribe for more Star Rail and Genshin content from yours truly. And also, who are you pulling for? Jingliu seems awesome, man, and Topaz is coming in the second half. Will you be able to stop yourself from pulling Jingliu until Topaz arrives? Let me know in the comments. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next video.